thanks for joining me today. I want to talk to you about how you can truly forgive someone from your heart without holding anything back, forgiving unconditionally without any restrictions or boundaries. You see, we live at a time where there are so many things that are going to make us angry. People are going to throw us off and frustrate us and leave us in perpetual anger. So I'm here to encourage you to forgive. I know forgiveness is tough. I cannot pretend that it will always be easy to forgive people. So pay attention to the things I'm going to discuss here. And before we dive in, I want you to know that it takes tremendous courage to be able to forgive someone. So if you are seeing yourself or finding yourself forgiving, know that you're a courageous person. And if you're struggling with unforgiveness, you have to muster that courage as well. Sometimes forgiveness doesn't make sense. Sometimes you have all the reasons in the world not to forgive, and you have to forgive even when it doesn't make sense. I want to point us to the fact that God forgave us even while we were yet sinners. If you're a Christian or a believer, know that you are forgiven, and you are forgiven because Jesus Christ died on the cross of Calvary for your sins. I don't want to be preachy today, but I just want to point you to the fact that as you freely received forgiveness from Christ, you should be able to pass this on to other people, no matter what. So there shouldn't be any restrictions, conditions, or any boundaries. I know forgiveness can bring a great burden on our hearts sometimes, and it feels like you are just dying of that hurt and anger and frustration. But when you're forgiving, you're doing yourself good. It's not necessarily about the other person, but it's about you. Forgiveness is really about you. It's about letting go of all the things that are keeping you bound and captive, those thoughts of anger and frustration. So you're doing yourself good when you forgive. And just to point you to the fact that forgiveness transforms hurt and anger into healing and peace. So when you forgive others, you're going to experience tremendous peace and happiness within you. Unless you are someone who is forgiving, it can be very difficult to live in peace. Continuous peace that is not interrupted by those external forces. And so forgiveness is very vital for us. I've seen people in my world and people in my family who live in unforgiveness, and as a result, this has held them back. They're not making progress in life, they're not making progress at work, they're not making progress in their businesses simply because they've refused to forgive. Some people live in unforgiveness to the point where it has become a sickness for them. It's eating them inside. Every day they're being driven by unforgiveness, and this is taken the better of them. So let go, and here is the way to let go unforgiveness and to experience true forgiveness, and to be able to give this true forgiveness without any restrictions or barriers. The very first step towards offering true forgiveness is that you have to acknowledge the hurt. You have to acknowledge the source of the hurt. What it is that is causing you hurt, anger, and frustration. Where is this coming from? Who is this person that is causing so much anger? If you cannot identify your hurt and frustration, there is no way you're going to be able to offer true forgiveness. So you cannot just pretend that what is causing you hurt and anger doesn't exist. You have to be able to admit, to identify it, and in identification is the starting point towards offering true forgiveness. So you have to put a finger, pinpoint what it is that is causing you this anger and frustration. And when you do that, you're setting the stage, as it were, to experience true forgiveness for yourself and to be able to offer this to others. So stop for a moment and think about the thing. Sometimes just identifying the hurt and coming to a point where you know what that hurt is can help you to even see that this is something that shouldn't take you a long time to forgive in the first place. And when you that person who is very thoughtful and who's always taking time out to think about the things that are happening in your life and the things that might be causing hurt, you will be able to know that it is time to offer forgiveness. And the next step is that you have to acknowledge those hurtful emotions. So once you've identified the hurt, what is causing pain in your life, and which is leading to unforgiveness, you have to move to this next step, which is acknowledging that truly this is hurtful. Sometimes we just pretend as if nothing is disturbing us, nothing is bothering us. But if you live in pretense, there is no way you're going to offer true forgiveness. And sometimes we've casually said, "Oh, I've forgiven you," but truly within us, we've not forgiven because we have not come to terms with those emotions. Understand that truly this has been hurtful for you, and in just take a moment to, internalize that so that you can understand why this is important for you to forgive and why you have to come past that step of holding back forgiveness and to offer it freely and without conditions. So you have to be able to acknowledge your emotions. Yes, this has been very tough. This person has treated you badly. They have done terrible things to you, maybe, and they've hurt you in terrible ways. Come to terms with those emotions, acknowledge those emotions, and when you do this, you're now moving a step further in the process of true forgiveness. And step number 3 in offering true forgiveness is that you have to be able to forgive yourself and let go. I know lots and lots of people who are living a life of continuous frustration with themselves. They are frustrated because life has not turned out the way they expected. Things have not worked as they planned. So you have to be able to forgive yourself. Yes, you've made mistakes. You've failed woefully as a result of your own errors. Maybe just because life happens, but the important thing here is that you have to be able to forgive yourself. Forgiveness has to start from within. If we cannot forgive ourselves, we cannot forgive others. So you have to come to a point where you are able to forgive yourself and to exercise self-love. I've talked in the past about the importance of not deprecating yourself and hating yourself. If you continue to live in self-hate, you cannot forgive others because you haven't forgiven yourself. You have to experience that forgiveness and know how it feels for yourself in order to offer that to other people. Next in our steps to offering true forgiveness is that you have to breathe compassion. Compassion is going to be the fuel for true forgiveness. If you cannot exercise compassion to yourself and to others, there is no way you're going to be able to offer true forgiveness. True forgiveness comes from a compassionate heart, a heart that is able to empathize with others, put yourself in other people's shoes. Unless you can feel for others, unless you can imagine what others are going through, and unless you are thinking about how your unforgiveness might be holding some other people back, because I know, like, living in unforgiveness is like you're holding someone in a prison also, and you have to be able to let go that person from your thoughts. You have to let go that person from your mind, from your heart, so they can experience freedom in themselves as well. So I want to encourage you to be able to exercise compassion, and compassion comes from a heart that is filled with love, is filled with humility, is filled with selflessness. You have to be selfless in order to offer true compassion and come to a point where you can truly forgive others. So breathe compassion. So make it a culture to be compassionate to others, no matter what they've done or no matter who they are. exercise compassion towards them. And moving forward here, in order to forgive unconditionally and to forgive truly, the fifth thing we want to talk about here is that you have to forgive unconditionally. Forgiveness should be unconditional for it to be true, for it to be authentic. So you have to forgive someone no matter what they've done, as I've said already, no matter who they are. And sometimes, really, we shouldn't focus on the person and magnify what they've done, but we should look for an opportunity to forgive. And I know that there are many of us that have vowed never to forgive. And even if we're going to forgive, we lay out some preconditions that the other person has to fulfill before we can forgive. And if we were to do this and other people were to do this to us, then society would be a place where no one is going to forgive the other person, and forgiveness wouldn't exist at all. So for there to be genuine and true forgiveness, we have to be able to do away with all the preconditions. I know when we're forgiving people, it's a risk that is worth taking, because as I said, you're freeing yourself, it's good for you. So don't lay some conditions, because the moment you begin to lay some conditions or preconditions for forgiveness, the more you're making it difficult to truly forgive. So don't make it a thing where you are saying, unless this person does this and this and this, I'm not going to forgive them. So forgiveness should come from a heart filled with love, and it should come without any preconditions. So forgive unconditionally, just as God has forgiven us unconditionally. And the next step here, which of course is the sixth in exercising true forgiveness, is that you have to be grateful. Be grateful for life. Be grateful for the friends you have, the people around you, your family, your job, your business. Be grateful for the world. Be grateful for the food and the air you breathe, everything. And when you live a life of gratitude, you will be able to exercise forgiveness, because you are giving no room for bitterness. You are making up your mind to be better and not bitter, because better is the ultimate. We want to be better in life. Nobody wants to not be better. We're always striving to be the better version of ourselves. So make sure that you are grateful for the things that you have right now. Don't always focus on the things that you don't have. When you are grateful and you fill your heart with gratitude, thoughts of gratitude, you're likely going to forgive unconditionally and readily too. So be that kind of person who is always thankful, and who is always thankful that they have good friends. And when you're thankful for your friends, you can forgive them no matter what they've done. In as much as you're forgiving your friends, be ready that you can receive their forgiveness as well. And lastly, be ready to love again. As you've forgiven, open up your heart and be willing to love other people, to love those people who've caused hurt and pain in harm to you. Be able to love them, because if you don't love them, you're just forgiving them because well, you have to, then that forgiveness is not genuine, it is not true. So to make your forgiveness authentic, be open to love, be open to embrace other people. I know it will take some time to build that trust, but upfront, be ready to love, because we've received love and we should be able to give love to others. So love is that one thing that is going to motivate you to continue to forgive even when people don't deserve it. Love was that one thing that made God to forgive us, even when we did not deserve it. The Bible says that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him may not perish but have everlasting life. So we were loved even while we were still sinners. Christ died for us. So be able to offer love to other people, no matter what they've done and no matter who they are. Love them unconditionally, And when you do this, you will always find a reason to forgive other people. So forgiveness is first and foremost for you, and then of course secondly for the other person. It's for you because it's good for your health, it's good for your spiritual life, it's good just for you as a person. And secondly, it's for the other person because when you forgive them, you are setting them free from your thoughts and emotions and feelings, and they can experience happiness as well. They can experience love. They can experience freedom. So don't hold people captive in your thoughts because of how they've hurt you and how they've harmed you and how they have made you angry and mad. So be willing and ready to forgive. And to do this, you have to follow the steps that we've discussed today. And thank you for watching our video. And if you've been blessed by today's video, please make sure to pass the word, subscribe to our channel. May God bless you always.